How do you tell the difference between a stock that's run out of fuel and a stock that's simply taken a breather? Well, that's the question we need to ask right now with VMware, VMW, the cloud infrastructure virtualization company that pioneered so much of the technology that drives the cloud and the data center to the hottest trends in the industry. I could throw in mobility, too. For years, the stock languished, finally bottoming out in February 2016, not long after we learned that its old parent company, EMC, was being bought by Dell. Since then, though, the stock has caught fire thanks to VMware's method of cloud computing using virtualization and its fabulous partnership with Amazon Web Services that we got to learn a lot more about. All this has helped to reignite the company's growth, and that's allowed the stock to work. Get this, it's now up over 145% from its lows early last year. However, after gaining a quick 16 points in August, great quarter, stock has leveled off over the past couple weeks, pulling back nearly $4 from its highs, like so many other cloud-related entities. So is this the pause that refreshes or simply a pause? Let's dig deeper with Sanjay Poonen. He's VMware's Chief Operating Officer to learn more about what his company's doing and where it is headed. Mr. Poonen, welcome to Mad Money's headquarters set. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am excited to see Sanjay because he has explained more to me about how this new world works than anyone. And I want you to tell people, Sanjay, about how you got this incredible Amazon deal, how people were shocked. And the fact is, I think you were friendly with the guy who runs Amazon Web Services from business school. So sometimes that's how things turn out.
Well, Andy Jassy was a classmate at business school, but we are Warriors country. Everything is strength in numbers.
Right.
Pat, my boss, the CEO, Raghu, who's a chief architect of our cloud, and myself and the team worked really, really hard. I mean, if you kind of peel back a little bit, Jim, VMware is this amazing company that became the de facto name in the data center because we just saved cost and complexity. I mean, if you add up all of our customers over the 18 years of our existence, we've saved enough energy for about 40% of the homes of the United States. In the early days, people...
Wait a second. This is through virtualization.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have saved how much?
Energy for about what 40% of the U.S. homes use in a year. That's how much energy. In the early days, people would send us letters saying, can I tell you how much my electricity bill was before and after VMware? So this is a cost and complexity story that's amazing, the brand name in the data center.
And that's virtualization does that because you don't need a gazillion computers.
You do a lot in software that's typically done in hardware. Now, as the cloud became, a force of nature, we figured the right thing for us to do was partner with the leader in the public cloud, Amazon. And we took the benefit of us being the leading private cloud in the data center and mapped that now into some incredible technology we built jointly with my good friend Andy Jassy and his team at Amazon. And we just released that last month. We think it's really going to do well in the market.
Now, Pete, you said that private and public. One of the things, our theme tonight is that companies want both. They want the optionality of have something on premise, and they also want the data center away. Now, why do they want both?
As you think about companies and their future, they have to decide how much data center capacity they want to use now into the government. Some people feel they run a data center very well. We can help them modernize it with software, and that's what we do very well. Some other companies say, listen, I don't want to expand a lot of my data centers. I want to use the new hardware economy. If you talked about the hardware economy 20 years ago, it was Dell, HP, IBM, Fujitsu, Cisco. The new hardware economy is not just those players, but AWS, Azure, Google, IBM. I want to use that capacity to help me expand or contract elastically. That's what many of these public cloud players. Now, if you could get the benefit of both worlds, the same tools that you've known at VMware for managing and automating that, but get the data center capacity on the fly. That's what we've brilliantly innovated here.
Okay, so now I'm a retailer. Now, that means I might be competing with Amazon, but I also know that I need VMware because you have retailers as big customers.
Almost all of them.
Do they? Yeah, almost all of them use you. How do they reconcile going against Amazon, or is that all internal, or it's so good to be on Amazon it doesn't matter?
It's all their choice. Listen, we don't go into a customer and tell them which public cloud they should use.
Okay.
Usually they've made that choice, but as they made that choice, certainly Amazon is number one in the market, AWS. We usually then are able to tell them, if you're picking this cloud, here's how you can get the best of VMware on-premise and in the private cloud, and this is how you can extend that same cloud foundation into the public cloud. And then many of these retailers, remember, another part of their business is devices in the stores. Another key part of our business is end-user computing. Almost every retailer uses AirWatch, our technology, to secure their devices in the stores or their phones, whether it's Coca-Cola, Nike. We have great partnerships there. And you'll see that no better than the NRF show in January, where we make a big showing of what we do.
Retail. Now, Nike reports tonight. reported tonight, and it looked good. But tell me where you are in the Nike chain, because I know that there's a direct-to-consumer component that they really like right now. There's obviously a retail component, physical brick and mortar. What are you doing for them?
Nike spoke at our VMworld conference last year and this year, and they talked about how they are building a lot of their data center for many of their next generation sort of consumer-facing apps on VMware.
Okay, this is important because that's the future.
Absolutely. So we want to be there not just in terms of what they're doing with data centers, but technology called containers.
Okay.
They've also decided to standardize on technology like AirWatch for mobile security. Right. So we're there in terms of that capability. And Nike is a really good example of a co-innovation. They tell us where they want to engineer their future in the data center, cloud, and also in the mobile devices, and we're there right with them.
All right, one last question, Sanjay. There's been this feeling over the last 5 days that somehow the cloud is slowing, the data center is slowing, because that's why all these Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google going down. I don't hear from you that there's a slowdown at all.
We think there's going to be a good amount of spending in the private cloud on-premise
right.
and into the public cloud, and we feel we're one of those quintessential companies that can bridge both sides of that chasm. And, we'll have to see how the future holds in terms of public spending and also private spending. But we feel optimistic, and that's what we've seen in both our results the last several quarters and how we look into the future. The key thing, though, is to become a trusted advisor to your customer, and that's what we've been doing. We talk about Nike, we have 500,000 customers. Right. They are the ones who drive our roadmap. You keep doing that, I think there's innovation to be had in tech.
All right, well, if you see strength, then there is strength. That's Sanjay Poonen. He's the Chief Operating Officer of Customer Operations at VMware, a stock that I like very, very much. Mad Money is back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.